WrestleMania. That time of the year when fans from across the globe, from every aspect of life, come together as one, for one night only, to witness the spectacle that is the showcase of the Immortals. But what makes a WrestleMania as infamous as it is? The atmosphere, the crowd, the remarkable stages, and of course, the contest. It's very important that what Big Vince decides to main event the grandest stage of them all. What in his mind is the biggest match of the show. There's been multiple WrestleMania main events. Some were the right call to main event, others not so much, and some that many consider to be a disgrace to the brand. You're watching Ears of Wrestling. This is every WrestleMania main event ranked from worst to best. Let's get on with it.
Number 37, Roman Reigns vs Triple H at WrestleMania 32. The match that nobody wanted to see main event the show. It shouldn't have even been Roman Reigns in the spot. Many believed it should have been Dean Ambrose, as he was the one being screwed time after time by the authority way before Roman Reigns was. The crowd in Arlington shat all over this match, booing almost the entire time, chanting boring, and even singing theme songs of other WWE superstars like Sami Zayn and others. We had to watch these two bull roars for a total of 27 full minutes, and nobody could care. The moment that the ref counted the three, the crowd booed the supposed new face of the company out of the building. This negativity lasts up right until the present day. This moment ruins Roman Reigns.
Number 36, Bret Hart vs Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9. Going into this match, everyone was certain that the Hitman would triumph as retaining WWF champion, sending the Las Vegas crowd home with a smile on their face. That did happen, but not for the expected reasons. After 8 minutes of a relatively average match, Yokozuna was locked into the sharpshooter, which probably would have made him submit, giving Bret the win, until Yokozuna's manager, Mr. Fuji, threw salt into the eyes of Bret, causing him to lose. And then out of nowhere, America's golden boy, in the words of CM Punk in his famous promo The Pipe Bomb, "There's one thing that you're better at than I am, and that's kissing Vince McMahon's ass." Hulk fricking Hogan comes in and challenges Yokozuna to an impromptu title match. Yokozuna grappled Hogan, allowing Mr. Fuji to throw salt, but Hogan ducked, causing the salt to go into Yokozuna's eyes, giving Hogan his 5th WWF Championship title.
Number 35, Hulk Hogan vs Sid Justice at WrestleMania 8. The WrestleMania 8 main event saw a non-title match between Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice. Neither man was a champion at the time, so how did this main event the biggest show of the year? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because Hulk Hogan is in the match. That self-centered egomaniac. He's so selfish, isn't he? It was a slow, boring match. Not a WrestleMania main event worthy match, especially when there's nothing on the line. But after the match is what had the people talking. When the match was meant to be thrown out as a result of a DQ finish when Papa Shango was meant to break up Hogan's pinfall after the extremely powerful leg drop, but he missed his cue, causing Sid to kick out the most powerful hook in all of professional wrestling. The match was thrown out for no reason, as Shango finally came out after the match for the Ultimate Warrior return spot. It wasn't a good main event and shouldn't have been in the spot it was in. But after the match, it was a good moment when Hogan and Warrior were stood in the ring together as friends rather than foes than 2 years earlier.
Number 34, Lawrence Taylor vs Bam Bam Bigelow at WrestleMania 11. One of the worst main events ever happened in this show. An average middle card wrestler versus a bloody NFL linebacker. Like, I get this would be an important collaboration with WWE and the NFL, but if you aren't American, you're like, who the hell is this guy? This match was chosen over Big Daddy Cool Diesel versus Mr. WrestleMania himself, Shawn Michaels, and the legend Bob Backlund versus Bret the Hitman Hart. This 11-minute match was mostly carried by the experienced performer Bam Bam Bigelow, making it look like the Gobbledygooker versus Hornswoggle, making WWE look like...
Number 33, Undertaker vs Psycho Sid at WrestleMania 13. After arguably the best match in WrestleMania history just happened, and Bret Hart vs Stone Cold Steve Austin, these two had no chance of topping it. Bret vs Austin should have main evented and not this match. It was just a standard match with not a lot happening. Psycho Sid found himself the WWF Championship and had the task of defending it in the main event of WrestleMania 13 against The Undertaker, who had a 5-0 streak. Undertaker won. The the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, and doing so keeping the streak alive and going to 6-0 on the grandest stage of them all with a devastating tombstone piledriver for the win. But sadly, this goes down as history and one of the worst WrestleMania matches of Undertaker's legendary career.
Number 32, The Miz versus John Cena at WrestleMania 27. Well, where do I start with this match? An underexperienced Miz who was still climbing his way to the top of the WWE versus Big Match John. The only point of this match was to set up Rock versus Cena in the next WrestleMania. After a pretty good no disqualification match, there was a double countout, after which the host of WrestleMania, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, came out and read an email from an anonymous general manager and restarted the match. With Cena distracted, The Rock delivered a catastrophic rock bottom to Cena, costing him the match. This would result in The Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania 28.
Number 31. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34. It was obvious this was going to be the main event of the show, and people actually had high hopes for it, since they actually put on a really good match 3 years earlier at WrestleMania 31. But unfortunately, the crowd couldn't care, as they were very tired from an extremely long event. But Reigns and Brock did try to put on a really good match, but it was finisher after finisher with way too much kickouts, and the match went on way too long. The New Orleans crowd were even chanting boring when Roman Reigns was busted open. That's how tired they actually were, I know. Everyone was certain that Roman Reigns would win, since rumours were speculating that Brock Lesnar was going to leave and go back to the UFC. But surprisingly, after 6 F5s, Brock Lesnar won the match and retained the Universal Championship in the process. He's setting up for a rematch at the first ever WWE Saudi Arabia show at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So basically, this match was only done to set up a rematch in Saudi Arabia.
Number 30. King Kong Bundy versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 2. An iconic match, which was the All-American Hulk Hogan, I swear he is writing this script for us, versus the walking condominium King Kong Bundy in a steel cage match, with the iconic blue steel cage being used. After the assault on Hogan on the Saturday night's main event 5, causing Hogan to be taped up, after a very slow-paced match, Hogan, being Hogan, climbed the cage, causing him to be intercepted by Bundy, before kicking him down and taking the win and defending his belt. Overall, an average main event, but a host of wrestlers that were overused at the time.
Number 29. Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 7. I'm sorry, Hogan is still here. Anyway, Sergeant Slaughter used to be a patriotic American who would always stand up for his country, until he turned his back in America and aligned himself with Kal Mustafa and General Adnan to become an Iraqi sympathizer. So this match was easy to build, as Hulk Hogan has always been Mr. America. He would always stand up for his country and of course defeat Robert Rudolph Remus. Yes, that's Slaughter's real name. I know. What? Anyway, in Eras of Wrestling's opinion, this was the most satisfying, the only satisfying Hulk Hogan WrestleMania main event win. But the match still wasn't the best, and it shouldn't have main evented, but for once, we weren't too mad to see Hogan win again in the main event.
Number 28. The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania 29. A sequel to the once-in-a-lifetime bout at the previous WrestleMania. Cena was out to avenge his loss in the first match, while The Rock was trying to defend his WWE Championship. The 30-minute match was solid, and the ending was a complete finisher fest, which involved Cena using the Rock Bottom, and then The Rock hitting his own Rock Bottom. Cena, of course, kicked out of it because he's Super Cena, and then he hit Rock with an A for the win, and his 11th WWE title win. Allegedly, CM Punk was supposed to have been in it, which would have made it 100 times better, but a part-timer was put in there before him, as usual.
Number 27. Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33. Another one of The Undertaker's most weakest matches on the grandest stage of them all, so the Phenom battling the new face of the company in a match to determine who was the true big dog who runs the yards. The build-up to the match started at Royal Rumble 2017, when the crowd erupted with boos as Roman Reigns entered at number 30 and eliminated the Deadman. The match closed the show at WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns won with 4 spears. After the match, it looked as if Undertaker was going to retire. And if that was the case, then it's the right call to put on last in the main event. But 1 year later, he beat John Cena in a short match, so it shouldn't have main evented the show of shows.
Number 26, Mr. T and Hulk Hogan versus Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff at WrestleMania 1. The first ever WrestleMania main event was kind of a letdown considering it was chosen over Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd in a $15,000 body slam challenge. The atmosphere was electric in the sold-out Madison Square Garden Arena in New York, with the legendary boxer Muhammad Ali as the special guest referee and Pat Patterson as the in-ring official. The match was kind of average. Midway through, all four wrestlers were brawling, and Muhammad Ali punched Rowdy Roddy Piper to restore order. Eventually, at the end of the match, Hogan pinned Orndorff to pick up the big win with the celebrity Mr. T to close out the first WrestleMania.
Number 25, Randy Orton versus Triple H at WrestleMania 25. This rivalry was a heated one, and a very good story building up towards the main event of WrestleMania 25. After the two going back and forth, such as Randy Orton kissing Triple H's unconscious wife with him tied up against the ropes, having to watch it. So for this match, you would expect a war between the two, but instead we got a slow 34-minute match with the two exchanging headlocks and working holds instead of going right after each other here in the personal feuds. So what the hell? I mean, there was even a stipulation added that if Triple H got disqualified, he would lose the WWE Championship. What? No, it would fit so much better if it was a no DQ match. It really would. It fit the feud. It would be very good indeed. But no, we got a slow match at the end of the night. And while the wrong winner won as Triple H stood tall retaining his WWE Championship, that was a bad way to end WrestleMania 25.
Number 24, Triple H versus The Big Show versus The Rock versus Mick Foley in a fatal four-way elimination match at WrestleMania 16. After The Rock won the Royal Rumble, he was given an opportunity for the WWF World title against the current champion, Triple H, who defended his belt twice against Mick Foley. The Rock fought against The Big Show. He ended up losing to The Big Show, but beat him in a rematch, making it a triple threat. Then Mick Foley was added into the mix, making it a fatal four-way. In every corner there was a McMahon. In Big Show's corner there was Shane. In Triple H's corner there was Stephanie. In The Rock's corner there was Big Boy Vince. And in Mick Foley's corner there was Linda. The match was actually decent, with Big Show being eliminated by The Rock, and after a pedigree into a steel chair, Mick Foley was eliminated. Finally, Rock versus Triple H in the final two, Vince slammed a steel chair into The Rock's skull, allowing Triple H to win and retain his championship, and he was the first heel to ever win a WrestleMania main event.
Number 23, Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase at WrestleMania 4. WrestleMania 4 was a different WrestleMania, since most of the show was being a big tournament to crown the new WWF World Heavyweight Champion. Both competitors, however, already had two matches in the show, as they were tired when it came to the main event, as it only lasted under 10 minutes long, but was a good match with two very reliable main eventers. The Macho Man prevailed, becoming the new WWF Champion. Sending the crowd home happy, we just wish it went on a little longer.
Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 36, Night 2. After Drew's Royal Rumble 2020 win, tensions grew high as Drew challenged the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar the following night on Raw. Drew McIntyre repetitively overwhelmed Brock night after night, and then time came for the empty house WrestleMania. At first, Brock had the upper hand on Drew McIntyre with German suplex after German suplex, and then an F5, but the Scottish psychopath kicked out at 1. This had never been seen before, ladies and gentlemen. This showed Drew as a relentless monster. Then he came back and Claymore after Claymore. Yes, my friend, this match was a 4-minute long finisher fest. This is the perfect fantasy for Vince's big sweaty men fetish. Drew won after delivering multiple Claymores, making his dream become a reality.
Number 21, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 35. Last year's WrestleMania was so historic, as it was the first WrestleMania that the women main evented. It was such a big deal for all the women's wrestlers that 3 of the greats were able to close the show. But unfortunately, the match only lasted about 10 minutes long. It was meant to go on longer. The reason it was shorter than intended is because a botched ending. As Ronda Rousey went for Piper's pit on Becky Lynch, Becky reversed it into a pinfall, but Ronda's shoulders were up. But the referee still counted the pinfall, and Becky Lynch won the match and became the undisputed Women's Champion, winning both the Raw and Smackdown Women's Championships. She was meant to win, but not in that way, and the match was only getting started. But it was good for what it was, just an unfortunate ending.
Number 20, Triple H versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania X8. Before WrestleMania X8, Triple H was getting tired of Stephanie's heel acts as he was a face. Stephanie asked Triple H to renew their wedding vows. Triple H refused, so Stephanie told Triple H she was pregnant, which turned out to be a lie. Triple H was furious. He went to attack her, but Chris Jericho stepped in the way. He tore Triple H's quadricep during the match, which was great and well received by the crowd. Triple H was locked into the walls of Jericho for multiple minutes, but eventually he got out and the match ended by a pedigree, making Triple H the undisputed WWF World Heavyweight Champion.
Number 19, Bret Hart vs Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10. The same main event was made from the previous year after that terrible mistake that was Hulk bloody Hogan. But luckily, Hogan was nowhere to be seen in this match at least. It was much better than the match the year before, and this time, the right man won. After a controversial Royal Rumble win alongside Lex Luger, both Bret and Luger were given a shot at the WWF Championship against Yokozuna on the same night in separate matches. Luger was first but lost to Yokozuna, but since Yoko would have to be in 2 matches, it would only be fair if Bret was in 2 matches as well. Therefore, Bret Hart was in a great show opener against Brother Owen on the same night, but surprisingly lost to Owens. But later on, he did not lose, as he defeated Yokozuna to become the new WWF World Heavyweight Champion. This was much better than the last year. Thank God Hogan was not here to ruin this again.
Number 18, Triple H vs Batista at WrestleMania 21. This match was an unusual one, as the Raw Triple H took on Smackdown Batista for the Raw World Heavyweight Championship held by Triple H at the time. Triple H had won the vacant belt in an Elimination Chamber match, whilst Batista won the Royal Rumble in January 2005. Evolution plotted against Batista, but he actually overheard them. Batista then signed the contract to confirm his match with Triple H. Batista then gave the famous thumbs up after pretending to sign with SmackDown, but then turned it into a thumbs down. The match in general was actually above average, with Hunter getting offense in at the start, but Batista came back hard, showing his dominance. He then proceeded to win with a Batista bomb straight out of the pit of danger.
Number 17, Hulk Hogan vs Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. Okay, I know many will disagree with this judgment, as the match was not spectacular, but there was one moment that many consider to be the biggest WrestleMania moments of all times. So we had Hulk Hogan hitting the world's largest body slam to Andre the Giant. As soon as that hit, the Silver Dome in Michigan erupted. What a moment that was. After he hit the body slam, Hogan dropped the most powerful move in all of professional wrestling, being the leg drop. And you won't believe it, but Hulk Hogan actually won. Wow, that never happens. But seriously though, what a moment that was.
Number 16, Bret the Hitman Hart vs Shawn Michaels. At WrestleMania 12, after the 1996 Royal Rumble, with Michaels coming out on top, Michaels also beat Bret at In Your House 6, in probably one of the most famous entrances ever. Michaels came down from the heavens on a frickin' zip line. The 60-minute Iron Man match went back and forth many times, with both men almost losing a fall several times, but no one could break the seal. After what felt like days, the match went into overtime, and as if the wrestlers were told that they had to finish the match then and there, Shawn put down the Hitman 2 minutes into overtime. The big letdown was the fact that there was no falls in the whole hour, and then Shawn won straight into overtime.
Number 15, John Cena vs The Rock at WrestleMania 28. The once-in-a-lifetime dream match was made official on the Raw after WrestleMania 27. So it was a massive build-up, as John Cena had multiple feuds before the match, as The Rock was on a part-time schedule who only had one match before the WrestleMania dream match with Cena. The match lived up to the hype, as both men delivered, and The Rock proved that he's still got it. This match is so iconic to this day, as both men kept hitting each other's finishing moves, or at least tried to. As at the end, John Cena went for the Rock's signature People's Elbow, with a Rock column and a Rock bottom to pick up the win. With such an iconic spot of the match, that's a really popular image, as John Cena was sitting at the bottom of the ramp with his head down. This match was very good and epitomised what WrestleMania truly is.
Number 14, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson at WrestleMania 15. Austin and Rock, where do I start? One of the best rivalries of all time. Mr. McMahon had screwed Austin so many times, from beating him in the Royal Rumble because of a distraction by The Rock, to making Austin lose in a tournament for the WWF Championship. The match was great, with many memorable moments, such as Mankind becoming referee as the current official was incapacitated by a steel chair. The match was back and forward until Mankind came down to the ring and kicked Big Boss Vince out. Austin hit Rock with a stunner, and the rest is history.
Number 13, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23. In a match for Cena's WWE Championship, he battled the Heartbreak Kid, Mr. WrestleMania himself, Shawn Michaels. It was a great match, worthy of our WrestleMania main events. The crowd were fired up for this match, and they were ready to see those two athletes go at it. They were not tired to see this match. The match was well received, and the right man won, as John Cena was able to retain his WWE Championship against Michaels. This was such a good match, and deserved to main event this edition of WrestleMania.
Number 12, John Cena vs Triple H at WrestleMania 22. This was the start of babyface John Cena getting booed by the fans. Most fans were cheering for heel Triple H to get the win. They both came out to special entrances. Triple H got introduced by Motorhead, and John Cena made his entrance after a group of men in suits with guns entered the arena. And when look who it is, oh wow, it's CM Punk. The match itself was great, and it was held by an enthusiastic crowd in Chicago, Illinois. In an entertaining 15-minute match, Cena ended this classic by making the game tap out in an STF and retaining his WWE Championship in the process.
Number 11, Triple H versus Chris Benoit versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 20. 10 years before Daniel Bryan's WrestleMania moment would begin, we got a similar result, as a man with a similar moveset in Chris Benoit won the 2004 Royal Rumble and went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event of WrestleMania 20, making Triple H tap out to his signature crossface. It was an awesome match and moment for Benoit, and we are sorry that this match missed out on the top 10. It's extremely hard to rank, but anyway, this match was great and a great way to close out WrestleMania 20.
Number 10, Brock Lesnar vs Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19. Starting off the top 10s is the main event of WrestleMania 19, in which the Royal Rumble winner Brock Lesnar had his first ever WrestleMania bout, and ending up being the main event. Well, Brock was built up quite quickly. I wonder why. Vince. This match was great, but unfortunately had a terrifying botch, as Brock went for the shooting star press, while Kurt Angle was lying right in the middle of the ring. Lesnar then proceeded to jump onto Angle, but undershot it and landed right in his head and neck, completely missing Angle. Luckily, Lesnar was able to recover and hit the F5 on Angle to secure the victory to become WWE Champion at his first WrestleMania. What a great passing of the torch moment from Angle.
Number 9, Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. Unlike the match 3 years later, this match was really good and got the crowd invested into it, even though they really wanted to hate it, since they did not want Roman Reigns in this spot. But the crowd was shocked as this match delivered in the main event spot, and that's before the big shocker even came into play. That's right. When both men were down, Mr. Money in the Bank at the time, Seth Rollins came running down the ramp with his Money in the Bank briefcase in hand, cashing it in and making it a triple threat match. He stomped Roman Reigns' head into the mat, becoming the new WWE Champion. This goes down as history as the best Money in the Bank cash-in of all time, and also the most underrated WrestleMania ever. But Brock and Roman did a hell of a job surprising us.
Number 8, Undertaker vs Edge at WrestleMania 24. The undefeated Undertaker looked to win his 6th World Championship on the grandest stage of them all by defeating the best performer to ever enter the square circle in the eyes of ears of wrestling, the rated R superstar Edge, who was at the time undefeated at WrestleMania. Undertaker won the Elimination Chamber at No Way Out 2008, to get a shot at the world title. Every time Undertaker looked to finish Edge off, he always had an answer for it, as he kept reversing chokeslams, tombstones, and even lash rides until the end, when Undertaker had to resort to the last move in his arsenal, the Hell's Gate submission hold. Edge tapped out and Undertaker was the new WWE Champion. Undertaker had capped off his WrestleMania with his 6th World Championship victory and killing Edge's streak whilst keeping his alive. The story of the match was excellent, and so was the match itself. This was the right way to close the show of shows.
Number 7. Macho Man Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 5. The mega powers exploding. What a huge match in the main event of WrestleMania. The story was there as Hulk Hogan, yes, he's back. We are sorry, Vince is controlling us. Anyway, Hogan and Savage were a great alliance known as the Mega Powers. Hogan was always around Miss Elizabeth. Damn it, Hogan, you're meant to be the immortal one, not Mr. Steal Your Girl. Anyway, Macho Man gets jealous, and rightfully so, attacked Hogan and called quits to the Mega Powers. We got the match, and it was very iconic. But again, I know, I am going to shock you. Hulk Hogan won the match for the most powerful move in all of pro wrestling, the leg drop. Poor Randy. But a great story, a great match, and I guess the babyface won, so fair enough, good way to end WrestleMania 5.
Number 6. Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Okay, we are not talking about Big Terry anymore. We're sick and tired of him. But let's talk about the match in which a lot was on the line. Hogan was defending his WWF World Heavyweight Championship, and the Ultimate Warrior was defending his WWF Intercontinental Championship. The winner would walk out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada with both prestigious championships. Hogan won again because of course he did. Wait, what? He lost? Huh? Are you serious? He let someone over for the first time and last time in his long career. But of course Hogan kicked out at 3. Hogan sat up. Hogan stood up. Hogan looked around. Hogan confused. Hogan's theme song not playing. This kind of put a dampen on Warrior's big win over the Hulkster. But in all honesty, this match was great. The one Hogan Mania match that really stands out for us. The raw strength, 2 of the biggest names in wrestling, squaring up face to face. The powerhouses tested their strength, and both of them each prevailed in their own way. Warrior hit a big splash, went for the pin, 1, 2, kick out. Hogan no-sold it again. This time Hogan came back with his signature combo leading to his leg drop. 3 punches, big boot, and the leg drop for this time missed, and Warrior got off his big splash. 1, 2, 3. The crowd goes wild. Warrior is now holder of 2 of the most prestigious championships in the brand. The only time that the Hulkster was ever beat cleanly from his WWE run from 1983 to 1993. This is a brilliant and fantastic way to finish out the WrestleMania.
Number 5. The Undertaker versus AJ Styles in the Boneyard match at WrestleMania 36, Night 1. Wow, well what can I say about this? Recently we have saw so many cinematic matches, but this one, in eras of wrestling's opinion, it is our favourite. Everything in this was gold, but the story beforehand was a bit meh, as AJ Styles said the only reason Undertaker still wrestles is because his wife, Michelle McCool, forces him to just for the money. Like what? It's basically a match to determine who does the better Styles clash, AJ or Michelle McCool. But in this match, Undertaker returned as the American badass on his bike. And well, AJ Styles and him put on an epic match. Both men pulled through at these difficult times, especially WWE. Undertaker won the match, but we do have to realise that AJ Styles was literally buried by the Undertaker. But this was gold.
Number 4. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14. An absolute dream match became a reality at WrestleMania 14, with an upcoming star in Stone Cold Steve Austin taking on a veteran of the business and the 5-star machine in the Heartbreak Kid. After winning his 2nd Royal Rumble, Austin has his eyes set on the WWF Championship, which belonged to Shawn Michaels. Many fans were super hyped for this first time ever clash of styles, and boy did it live up to the hype. These 2 warriors went back and forth, putting on a clinic, but when it was all said and done, Stone Cold triumphed as the new WWF Champion. We mentioned earlier that this was a real passing of the torch moment as the veteran pulled for the rising star. This is what our WrestleMania main event should be.
Number 3, Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. We mentioned earlier that moment with Chris Benoit had 10 years earlier. But this moment was much more special as the crowd went mad when Daniel Bryan single-handedly turned WrestleMania into Yesomania. As at the start of the show, he defeated Triple H to join the main event match for the WWE Championship against Batista and Randy Orton. If it was just a singles match with Orton and Batista, it'd probably be a little higher on this list. But no, Daniel Bryan was in the match and had won the match, making Batista tap out, becoming the new WWE Champion. The New Orleans crowd went exhilarant with joy as Bryan held both championships high to end an amazing WrestleMania 30 event.
Number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at WrestleMania X7. This legendary feud had been going on for years now, but it wasn't over yet. This is the best out of the 2 Rock versus Austin matches at WrestleMania. After Stone Cold won the 2001 Royal Rumble by eliminating Kane, and The Rock defeating Kurt Angle for the title, the rematch was on for WrestleMania X7 in the Rattlesnake's home state of Texas. Austin's wife Deborah was made The Rock's manager by Vince, and when she was put in the ankle lock by Kurt Angle, Austin stunned Rock for not stopping it. In the following week, Rock stunned Austin in retaliation for the previous week. The match itself was an instant classic. At the start of the match, both men busted the other open with shots from the ring bell. Then each man put the other in the sharpshooter. Then Rock used Austin's stunner, and then a rock bottom for a near fall. Then Austin used the stunner for a near fall. Out came Big Vince to turn on Rock, causing Rock to chase him, giving Austin a chance to capitalise. Vince proceeded to give Austin a steel chair, allowing Austin to hit Rock 16 times with the chair, giving Austin the win and the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Then the unthinkable happened. Austin and Vince shook hands and drank a beer together. Former foes were now allies, confirming Austin's heel turn.
And number 1, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, career versus streak at WrestleMania 26. Yup, this is it. It was of wrestling's favourite WrestleMania main event. Even the story before it, it was iconic. Shawn Michaels was determined to get a rematch with The Undertaker as he was unable to defeat him the year previous. Undertaker was the World Heavyweight Champion at this time, so Shawn Michaels entered the Royal Rumble match, even eliminating his best friend Triple H in order to get a shot at WrestleMania. But eventually was eliminated by Batista, and he was heartbroken in the fact he didn't win the match. After that, he was under the grate of the Elimination Chamber at the end of the match, surprised everyone, and had a sweet chin music to The Undertaker, costing him the World Heavyweight Championship and allowing his old foe, Chris Jericho, to take the title. After that, then, Undertaker agreed to put his streak on the line against Shawn Michaels, only if Michaels would put his career on the line in a match at Mania. Undertaker wanted that challenge, and he got that challenge. As Shawn Michaels accepted, he just wanted to defeat the streak. Both men went all out, as this match was absolutely phenomenal. But Undertaker won, and one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. Undertaker made sure to keep his streak alive, but Shawn Michaels' career was no longer intact. As in the next fight, on Monday Night Raw, he retired from professional wrestling, and we'd never see him in the ring again, or so we thought.
So guys, that was a WrestleMania main events ranked from worst to best. Let us know what you think in the comments below and what you guys would change. So guys, I've been Cameron.
And I have been Callum.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, because that would be nice. Or do whatever the heck you want. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.